A regular veranda stateroom on Viking, considered a luxury cruise line, is comparable in price to a Neptune suite on Holland America, considered a premium cruise line. The cost on Viking will vary by location on the ship. There are also larger suites, just as there are slightly different categories of Neptune suites on Holland America, but this is a comparison between a basic stateroom on Viking and a Neptune suite on Holland America. Hi everyone, this is Your World, and welcome to it, where I talk about my visits to some interesting places. I'm Bill Bernstein. This video is our perspective on what we perceived as the noticeable differences, as well as the clear similarities between the two types of cruises. If you like listening to some of what I say here half as much as I like talking about these destinations, be sure to subscribe. Our Viking cruises were around Iceland and in the Adriatic, and our Holland America cruise was in Alaska. We have other videos that are focused on the sites we visited and what we saw on those cruises. This one is about the ships. There was a drastic difference in the boarding process. On both Viking cruises, we happened to get there early, and they allowed us on the ship without a second's hesitation. We strolled around the ship while we waited for our stateroom to be ready. On Holland America, there was a long wait, although we had arrived at the appointed time. The most obvious reason might be that our Viking cruises, both on the Viking Sky, held a maximum of 960 passengers. All Viking ships are the same design, so that size applies to all. Our Holland America ship, the Noordam, can accommodate 1,972 people, over twice as many. Another significant reason is that we boarded the Noordam in Vancouver, so we were leaving Canada to enter the U.S., Alaska, and had to clear security and customs. But even after we cleared all that, there was a long wait while the ship was ready. Perhaps the most obvious comparison would be to compare the rooms and the service, and those tend to balance each other out in some ways. That is, the room, the bathroom, the dressing area, and closets on the Neptune suite on the Noordam were wonderful. We didn't have that sort of space on the Viking Sky, but the overall service on board was unparalleled, what you might hope for in a luxury line. Because we were in a Neptune suite on the Noordam, however, we had access to the Neptune lounge and could approach the concierge there anytime to clarify a question or to request assistance with any issue. There's a subtle feeling in the way we were always treated on the Viking. So, in the service category, Viking is slightly ahead, whereas the Neptune suite on the Noordam on Holland America is slightly ahead in the room space. Internet access left much to be desired on both cruises. Viking told us that they were changing their service provider. On the Noordam, also, we had lousy access in our room, but better access in certain locations, such as the Neptune lounge. This doesn't really help when you're in your room, of course. No winter in this area. Many things are included in a Viking cruise, whereas on Holland America, much is extra, giving Viking an advantage here. One excursion in each port is included. Something that we really took advantage of was access to the thermal pool in the spa at no charge. We really enjoyed this when we found time to use it. There is a thermal spa on Holland America ships, but we didn't pay to use the one on the Noordam. Two other areas that we consider balance each other out. On Viking, you never hear an announcement or are approached about something they're trying to sell you, although this didn't really bother us too much on Holland America. On the other hand, there are many more activities available on Holland America. These include the World Stage, Billboard on Board, the Rolling Stone Rock Room, and B.B. King's Blues Club. Another thing that I really liked about Holland America ships is that they have casinos, and Viking ships do not. Now let's talk about something important on any cruise, the food. This is where a premium cruise line is expected to set itself apart, and Viking certainly did not disappoint. Every meal was a treat, whether in one of the specialty restaurants, again, no extra charge for these, or even in the buffet. We were a bit spoiled by this. We had okay food on the Noordam on Holland America, and occasionally something excellent, but as I said, we were a bit spoiled. My videos about the cruises give details about the restaurants and the food. We do give high marks regarding one aspect of the food service on Holland America, however. At the poolside grill on the Noordam, they have several varieties of burgers, and for vegetarians, like me, a Beyond Burger could be substituted for any of their burgers. On Viking, they make their own vegetarian burger, and, well, personally, I'd take one of those on Holland America anytime. Remember, as far as the rooms go, we're only comparing the Neptune suites with Viking. I mention this because at times on the Holland America ship, the Nordam, the lines at guest services or the excursion desks were long, but we could bypass these for the concierge in the Neptune lounge. There was never much of a wait for anything on Viking, however, whichever class of room one was in. No real wait in the buffet lines on either ship. We liked the Scandinavian decor on the Viking. It had a nice, clean feel that we felt very comfortable with. So, after all this talk, what's our conclusion? First, we loved all our cruises. The determining factor in the future will probably be the itinerary. We'll choose the cruise line that goes to an area we want to visit with stops that we're interested in. In spite of all the great things I said about the food and attention on Viking, our next cruise happens to be on a Holland America ship, the Rotterdam, which is their newest ship. We've heard great reviews of the food on the Rotterdam, so we'll let you know how that works out. In my videos about cruising, I try to mention Tips for Travelers, a site that taught me a lot. There's a link included in the comments below. If you're interested in more information about the sites we visited, some details about those places, as well as the ships that I speak about, you can check out one of our cruises to Iceland or Alaska by clicking on one of these links. Thanks very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, so long for all of us here in your world.